Hi, Melissa. I'm going to give you some feedback. One big problem here is you haven't shared this properly, and you need to give me editor access. You haven't given me editor access. So that's an issue because I can't put my comments in here. Now, you've given me an essay on why you deserve an A, and that's not a problem, but that won't work in your final, when you do final self-grading. It needs to be organized into the categories in this self-grading guide. I can't be searching around trying to figure out what you learned and what tools you used and your challenges and such in a long paragraph. It's not really meant for a paragraph format. So just letting you know. Now, you've got this weekly Gen IX summary, and you've defined resources and create an information literacy summary. Uh, so you've got the reflection, you've got 60 minutes, but I don't have a link to the summary. So there's no way that that's going to be an A plus. You have to put or an A. I have to actually see your summary, right? So that's incomplete. In terms of your personal project here, 2 hours, you created a story. The project is create a storybook. And you've given me a guide of what you're doing. I don't see a link to your book, or at least where you're going or what you're producing at this point. So it's a bit difficult, particularly when it's a storybook. I worry about that because they can be generated, boom, with a really good prompt in Gemini Storybook. So yeah, not sure where you're going with that, but let's fingers crossed. You've got your in-class contributions, which is fine. I appreciate. Yeah, let's see. Take a look. Yeah, they're all solid. Um, and then you've got your actual activities, which is excellent. You've posted a really nice um, resource here in the description, so that's good. So really the big problem is I don't have a link to your Gen AI activity in the final product of what you produced. And I'm a little uncertain about your project. I've got your reflection, but we're week 2. So let's take a look. Hope be hopeful, fingers crossed. Week 3, let's see. Again, it's paragraph format. Can't change that because you haven't given feedback, but you're giving yourself an A. The other up there, I would say, well, it's sort of in the B plus category before without the actual final product. We have a similar problem with this activity, but maybe not. Let's just take a look into the document. Aha. Okay, so we do have the challenges. Perfect. And you decided to use ChatGPT and quickly generated, and you've got the limitations. So I would say that is an A quality effort in there. You've got your weekly project here, and you've got 5.5 hours, created detailed prompts for the story. Cute little bee. Okay. And you're generating the images. I guess I'm not clear about 5.5 hours, a long time to be working on this. And so not quite clear about where you're spending the time, but it looks like maybe it's mostly in, I'm not sure. So, but it looks like you're at least using a lot of tools, and so that's good. Got your weekly contributions, your chat GPT, learning letters and sounds. Alphabet, interesting. Oh, okay, that's an evaluation of a tool. Of a tool? Yeah. Okay. Um, and then your classroom contributions are yeah, reasonable summary. And then you evaluated somebody, another tool, which is excellent. So I would say, yes, this is an A week for you. We don't need this, so you can just delete this resource. So you've got an A minus here. So you're absent week 4. So unless you have, yeah, in class, you have to go to the top of the lesson. There is a video, and you have to put your contributions here. So you wouldn't be in an A minus there. You'd be more in the B area until that gets filled in. See Google Drive for video. Well, you should put a link to that video. Because I don't, well, because I'm doing 100 of these, it's a little harder to, but there is the video. And so that's good. So at least I know it's there. You've done the work. You didn't have to do a reflection on that, so you were successful. Um, and then progress report on this. And you've got 4 hours, finalize the storybook, little bee learns flowers. Okay. Uh, okay. It's just really hard for me to know what 4 hours were spent on this, but let's see the completed AI project. Now you're going to have to um, submit this to me. So we've got this busy bee with the text, and I guess what I'm going to need is a really detailed self assessment on what you did. Um, the tools you use, whatever, the time you spent, and you're going to submit that to me, and then I can give you an evaluation of that. So you're kind of somewhere between a B plus, A minus. A minus will be fine. Um, and then you've got an A this week again in this format, so you don't have to do assessment pass this week, so that's fine. You've got the deep learning assessment. So you've done all that, which is good. You're really, yeah, you're keeping up with the work, which is excellent. You got your project activity, which is generate create a self-assessment rubric. Okay, this is your self-assessment. What I learned, challenges, what I like most, what do I do differently. You've got a detailed rubric. Okay, so you're gonna have to kind of go off that. Personal challenges under the water. Okay. What I learned. I learned that I made small prompt adjustments. Okay, so I need to know the total time spent and approximately that breakup of the time. Um, and then we can kind of give you um, a grade on that. And I don't see anything in class contributions here. So that's my feedback for weeks 2 to 5. I'd say you're at sort of yeah, you're around an A minus level. And so please submit the project with your self-assessment, but make sure you include the time spent, because it looks like it's about 25 hours to do a book, and I'm just trying to understand why it took that long. And that's more